was like, that's cool.
welcome everyone to another Race by Racing Club International. Today we are live from South Africa's Kyalami, here with some, as you can tell, very flat boy cars out on the track today. Currently watching Ismail Lebrec's Lamborghini Evo go along the track, and if we switch farther down the field, we're going to see another type of Lamborghini here. This is a Lamborghini ST. Of course, Ryan Gill decided he likes some Lamborghinis, as everybody knows based on our Discord, so we're doing Lamborghini Masters Cup here at Kyalami today. My name is Mike Jones. I will be broadcasting for you today, bringing you all the live pictures, as we have two commentators in the booth ready to bring you some commentary, and I will now toss over to Ryan Gill for that race.
Thank you very much, Mike, and it is a pleasure to be here tonight for the Lamborghini Masters Cup event at Kyalami. I'm going to be Ryan Gill. I'll be leading the commentary alongside Joshua Devonshire tonight. How are you doing, Joshua? You looking forward to tonight's race?
I actually am. This is going to be an absolute race of the week, I think. Personally, I've been looking forward to this one. Obviously, two completely the same type of car, yet so different at the same time. Ryan, do you want to go through the differences between the two types of cars, just for those who maybe... Obviously, the two cars look very similar on the surface, but what is the difference between the two for the people at home?
Yeah, so the Lamborghini GT3 Evo, which is the quicker of the cars, it's an official GT3, completely BOP and homologated as per the specification required for the GT3 World Challenge Series by SRO. And as per that, it's got all the usual restrictions that you would see on RPM. It's got weight added to it to make sure that it's all level with some of the more cars, well, all the other cars out on the GT3 field. The ST Cup is Super Travails. They're a bit different. They're based on the exact same chassis. There are a few differences between the chassis, though. If you have a look at them side by side, you will be able to notice some minor details. The ST is much more focused towards straight line speed, and in fact it's one of the key factors of this car is that it has one of the highest top ends of any race going road car in the world, and that's something that you do typically see with these cars at Monza, which is where they usually run exclusively. But these cars are incredibly fast in a straight line, much faster than the likes of the Lamborghini GT3 Evo, but of course not entirely sure if we'll fully see that in fact here tonight at Kyalami. Of course, quite a few more corners than you would find at a track like Monza. But of course, these cars, you know, very, very, very similar. But one of the big problems you do find with these Super Trofeo cars is they have a bit of an understeer problem that is, well, it's, should we say, ramped up from the understeer problem that the GT3 Evo has.
The ramp, like the wedge on the front of these cars. I'll say these are very, very speedy wedge boys, as you said. One of the highest top-end speeds, well, I believe it be in the game, from what you were saying just there. And we are seeing that in effect at the moment. If we look at the lap times currently, the Super Trofeos are kind of denoted by the small, kind of like little triangular kind of icon in the bottom corner where the number is, so that you'll be able to tell the different classes from that particularly. And you can see the Super Trofeos are setting slightly slower lap times, with the fastest Super Trofeo being about 1.4 seconds behind the slowest of the Evos. So yeah, there's definitely a difference in lap time, but nowhere near as much as, say, like a GT3 and the GT4. So where this is multi-class racing, it's going to be interesting to watching how these guys are going to get past each other and how they actually deal with the traffic, as we see Lebrec come through Cheetah right now.
Yeah, so of course, practice is officially over. The timer has hit 0. We're just waiting for everyone to finish their laps. And akin to lap time around here, you can kind of see the difference between, should we say, the Super Trofeo and the GT3 Evo is a bit more similar to the kind of difference you would see between the Porsche 991 GT3R and the Porsche Cup car that we have had a featured championship on, and we'll probably have another championship on in the future as well. So, you know, like you said, not as significant a pace difference like the GT4s have, but they are definitely the slower class in the field tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to mix this up a lot more, as we're currently watching Piedzak being overtaken, presumably by one of the faster Evos, from what I can see here. So the cars do look very, very similar. as they're heading down into, I believe that's Crocodiles. Very interesting corner names at Kyalami, obviously, of course, with it being situated in South Africa. Lots of corner names named after animals. Obviously, we've got Barbecue as well, which is a obviously quite an inventive name as we're watching them come through Ingwe past the convention center.
Yeah, so practice going to be coming to an end momentarily, and qualifying is now live. 15 minutes of qualifying here at Kyalami, both of them going out at the same time. There is going to be no split qualifying session for these cars, so the Super Trofeos and the Evos all running out at the same time. Of course, if anyone's been watching the multi-class GT series, you will know that we've been running the GT3s and the GT4s in separate parts of qualifying. It's all been one session, but we've basically had allocated time slots for each class. Not going to have any of that here tonight. It's just a one-off event. We thought, you know what, let's just have them all go out at once, see what happens, and, well, finding a gap for yourself is going to be important. We have 30-plus cars on the grid here tonight. We're currently on board with Elvin Smith, as he's going to be the first car out on track to go towards the timing line to start a flying lap, but he's only halfway around the circuit at the moment.
No, obviously he was quickest in practice as well, so expecting really good things from Elvin as he makes his way through the S's up the hill down to the hairpin. I must say, I absolutely adore this corner. You'll see in the shot here as he comes around, you'll see all of Johannesburg kind of just down the hill. Just look at that. Just that's such a good shot. It's such a good corner, such a good course. I'm really, really glad we actually chose to do this race at Kyalami. Obviously, he's making his way through Crocodiles, now making his way to the penultimate corner to start his flying lap. So, going to be expecting great things from him now, as Lebrec is also leaving the pit lane as well. Lots of cars out on track at the moment. As Ryan, as you were saying, finding a gap's going to be quite important, just to try to maximize kind of like the amount of clear air in front of you and to kind of make the most of having a free course. Obviously, it gets your tires warm up, you can kind of put the hammer down, you're not worrying about traffic or somebody stopping in front of you. Obviously, it just slows both drivers down in that case. Yeah.
Elvin Smith, he's gone through the first two corners, the Kink and Crowthorne up the Juke sweep, and now he comes over the top of Barbecue. Now he'll have the run down towards Sunset. Of course, 16 corners on this circuit, plenty to choose from, all of them different in every single way. Sunset, such a long right-hander here. And now he's going to come up towards Clubhouse Bend. Of course, he does have a car in front of him on track. But of course, move out of the way very kindly there as he'll come up towards the S's. Got to get this section right here, where you will be slowing down a lot. Ooh, clips the curb quite aggressively on the inside. He'll make his way up towards Leeuwkop at the moment. Brake at the Marshall post, very, very late. And up towards the top of the hill. Now he'll start his run all the way down. He'll come down through Mineshaft towards the no-named left-hander here at Kyalami. Another long, long corner as he comes in towards the Crocodiles. And then he comes up towards the most interesting corner, the most devastating corner, the make-or-break corner. It's Cheetah. Have to get this right. Switch in fast to the right. Don't clip the inside curb. Does very well there. Brake at the 50-meter board. Hug the left-hand side as much as you can. Maximize your exit. And he'll come up towards the timing line to set the first lap of the qualifying session. It's a 140.356. And that's not half bad for a banker lap.
No, for a first lap, that is actually pretty crazy. He was about 2 seconds ahead of his outlap. Looking at the timing screens here, was seeing the number 10 of the number 10 Lamborghini. He was a little bit higher on his delta as well, but Smith is also going a little bit higher on his delta at the moment as well. On screen right now, we have Lubomir Zeman getting caught up in a little bit of traffic, it seems, going through Barbecue, heading down to Sunset. Obviously, that's not great for his lap there, but we'll have to see exactly what he can do with that.
Yeah, the big problem the Super Trofeo drivers, very much the Evo drivers, are going to have this issue as well, is traffic here in qualifying. Of course, the Super Trofeo drivers have to be worried about getting lapped by an Evo car, and the Evos have to worry about coming up behind a Super Trofeo. And, it doesn't benefit either car to, get in the way and ruin each other's lap. But, these guys have to go out and set, everyone has to go out and set a lap. Everyone's trying to qualify for themselves. So finding a gap is going to be, it's going to be crucial. Looking at Zeman at the moment, he isn't up on his time. He has the likes of, who is that right behind him? In fact, in the 63, that is Alistair Gillies right behind him. And of course, is he going to back off now, maybe? Yes, he is. The Evo has decided to back off slightly, caught up to the back of the Super Trofeo, thought he's not going to get past in this tight complex. So might as well back off and have another go. And as he will, Zeman will come into the final corner. He has managed to go back up on his lap time by 0.3 of a second. So he should still stay P15 overall, but he increases the gap between himself and Billy Octane behind.
Yeah, I'll be very, very, very glad to see that. Billy Octane also setting a pretty quick lap at the moment as well. It'll be interesting to see exactly kind of where he's going to come out with. Obviously, Smith is still in first, followed by second by Luca, was it Weidelich? And was it Alistair Gills in third as well? Alistair's slightly up on his delta as well. But Smith has a massive lead in first. The best lap time being, was it 0.7 of a second? So 0.7 of a second ahead in front there. So that's fairly significant.
Yeah, I was just watching the perspective of Vibhu Nanthan, and he was coming up towards the final corner. I think he clipped Cheetah, and that has sent him spinning in front of the pit entry, and obviously he's now having to carefully rejoin the circuit, making sure he doesn't collide with anyone, and in fact he'll be returning to the pit lane as he speaks. So, this car, I mean, the Lamborghinis, they suit Kyalami. It's not a track that you would think would suit a car like this, a car that is very geared towards straight line speed and, very fast corners. And on paper, the Kyalami track map, you think to yourself, well, it doesn't look that quick. This track is quick. It is very, very fast. There aren't many corners on this circuit where you slow down, to second gear or first gear. So it suits the characteristics of the Lamborghini really, really well. And one of the big problems you have with a track with so many fast corners, especially one like Cheetah with an inside anti-cut curb that can send you to the moon and back, is that any accidents around here are usually not slow and they usually have big consequences.
I've seen so many cars take so much damage, especially, as you say, the inside of Cheetah and the anti-cut curb. It almost feels slightly unfair, but you just have to bear it in mind as you kind of take the turn. And that, again, throughout the length of this race, and that's going to be on everyone's mind. Just trying to, obviously, the drivers are also going to have to realize the strengths and weaknesses of both classes of car and work out where's best to actually pass, because it's not like the GT4s where you can just pass in a straight line. As we were saying before, in the straight line, in fact, the Trofeos actually have the edge despite the slower lap times. So we're going to see a lot more kind of strategic planning of getting around this traffic once we get into the race. But the reason why the mix-up in the qualifying means so much is because we could genuinely see some of the Evos behind some of the STs as well. You see, we have V. Nanthan at the moment in 22nd in the number 17 Evo. On screen right now, we have Jesperi Hikalo in number 17th in the 56, the Super Trofeo, and he is currently, just picked up 4/10.
And you something you have to realize is when you saw him on the main straight right there's an important thing to pick out, is the fact that the Evo behind him had the slipstream, and even with that slipstream he had on the main straight, he had to wait for Hilikalio to back off into the first corner to make a solid move. In the race, people aren't going to be backing off left, right, and center. This is qualifying. People aren't exactly on a fast lap. If they're on a cool down lap or an out lap, they're more than inclined to get out of the way. In a race, it's going to be less so, especially if the pack is bunched up together. And it's going to be one of those really, really interesting things. I really do hope at some point we get to see a Super Trofeo and an Evo go head-to-head on a straight just so you can see that difference, just so it's visual, because unless you see it, it's hard to understand how a car that is slower over the course of an entire lap can actually be faster on some elements of a circuit. And, well, I mean, if we were at Monza, it'd be very, very evident. I mean, the Lamborghini's Evos would... They would keep with the Super Trofeos on the straights at Monza, but they definitely wouldn't pass them in a straight line.
Oh no, not at all. Obviously, as you said, the Trofeos basically they're set up for this kind of thing. We have Valentin Chorus in second, who who improved on his lap time. I think a few laps ago now. He's only 0.456 of a second off of the leader of Elvin Smith. And on screen right now, we are looking at Weidlich in the P3 in the 29, and he is currently, I think it's 0.3 of a second up on my timing sheet.
Yeah, he is 0.3 of a second up, down the mine shaft and in towards the Crocodiles, the number 23, or 29, sorry. I'm getting my numbers mixed up today. Luka Weidlich and the FTW, ooh, little bit of a twitch coming out of the Crocodiles. Not exactly what you wanted to see. That's compromised his line towards Cheetah, but he is going to do fairly well to hold on to that 0.3 of a second. It'll come through Ingwe. He's going to gain some more time. Not going to go as wide as you can go through the final corner, but he will still improve by 0.4 of a second, and he's now up to second place.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Elvin has just picked up a 10th of a second there, so I'll bring him down to 139.9 as well. So the top three, Elvin's firmly in the lead, but otherwise it's anyone's kind of game, and it's switching up, and this is what makes this kind of race very interesting.
Something I've only just picked up on, actually. Ismail Lebrec, who is frequent Lamborghini driver that we see here. Of course, he's driving in the multi-class GT series in the Lamborghini, and I think he was also driving in the Lamborghini in something else. I can't remember if it's the Intercontinental Championship on Friday or not. But and he's also driving in the Night Owl in the Lamborghini as well. That championship coming up soon in September. And he's all the way down at the back of the grid. He's the only car to have not set a lap time yet. Of course, he has just gone into the back of someone in qualifying, and that didn't look too good there. And I'm looking, that's the number 10 car. So as I look down the order, that's actually a GT3 Evo. I was suspecting that could have been maybe a Super Trofeo going a bit slow through that long left-hander, but it wasn't. It was actually an Evo car backing off. So, well, Ismail Lebrec hasn't set a lap time yet, and he's realistically only got enough time to go out and do, well, one lap. So he's kind of got to make it do or die right now if he wants to avoid starting at the back of the grid. And especially with these Super Trofeos all bunched up towards the back of the grid, you don't want to be starting behind them.
Oh no, of course. It looked like the Evo in front of him actually slammed on the brakes slightly as well. Not going to say slam on the brakes. That's a bit aggressive sounding. It doesn't mean to be. Obviously, we see one of the Lambos spinning in front of Zeman right now as we're talking. No, as I saw a flash of brake lights as well, so maybe he was kind of pulling over to head back to pits. But anyway, it happened, and Lebrec has rejoined the track just behind Chorus. Actually, he's just come out of the pit lane now. Yeah. Lebrec will be trying to put in as good a lap as he can, because, as you say, he doesn't have time to really bumble around with this. He needs that clear air, and he needs to make the most of what he can actually do with that.
And if qualifying couldn't be any closer for the Super Trofeos, if you wanted it to be, look at that. Lubomir Zeman and the likes of Billy Octane, they were on identical lap times, but Lubomir Zeman has just gone quicker to guarantee himself a provisional pole position status. He has enough time for one more lap. Billy Octane is, of course, he's on an out lap at the moment. By the looks of it, he's not up on his time, so he'll be starting his final lap of qualifying in just a moment. As we look down through the rest of the field, Vibhu Nanthan, he's currently 2.8 seconds up on his lap time at the moment. He's actually in a GT3 car, and GT3 Evo, he's 23rd amongst the STs. He will go quicker. He will make sure that he's on the back of the Evo pack and not amongst the Super Trofeos at the start. But that could have been a bit concerning for the number 17.
Yeah, that's not a place you want to end up. Obviously, first lap, everyone's bunched up, trying to get round in corners, and you've got the STs kind of understeering wildly in front of you, whilst your own car's back end's trying to kick out and do the complete opposite. It definitely makes things very interesting, as we're seeing Andrew Berg go down into the final corner to Ingwe. Has he got time for another lap? He should have time for another lap with the max wait time when that actually comes through. Billy Octane is having another go in the number 33 in the Super Trails, going through Sunset right now, heading up to Clubhouse, and he is currently, it looks like he's 4/10 up on his Delta according to my screen, so that's 1/10. So that it will be putting him fairly high up.
Lubomir Zeman, he's come out of the final corner. He's lost a bit of time coming out of the final corner. He will still improve on his lap time. It's a 1:44.3 for the likes of Lubomir Zeman. He's the fastest Super Trofeo out there at the moment. Billy Octane has to make up 0.3 of a second if he wants to take that Super Trofeo pole position. He's 1/10 up at the moment. He's going to come down Mineshaft and towards the Crocodiles. What has Billy Octane got left in the tank? The man with the coolest name in all of sim racing. You can't even at me on that one. He comes up towards Cheetah for his final qualifying lap of the session. He's lost a bit of time. He'll go a bit wide. And I think he's maybe lost out. I don't think he has the time. He'll come through Ingwe. He's not up on his Delta. He'll come up towards the timing line. He might still improve, but it won't be enough to take pole position. He crosses the line. He doesn't improve. But someone who is up on a lap time is Hilakalio in the 56 Super Trofeo, 0.3 up at the moment. He needs half a second almost to put himself on pole. He could still take second on the grid for the Super Trofeos. Comes out the final corner up towards the timing line. And he will put himself second of the Super Trofeos, and that will bring an end to qualifying. But in the Evo class, it is Elvin Smith who will line up on pole position with Luka Weidelich alongside him on the front row.
Yeah, can I just say as well, Lebrec is still at the back of the grid. He didn't actually get a time in. He actually slammed into the pit wall from what I saw, whilst obviously all that other excitement was going on as well. So quite unfortunate, but we're going to definitely kind of see how these cars scrap and how he's going to make his way through that traffic light we've already mentioned. So, Ryan, usual kind of thing. If you had to put money on anyone right now, who's your money on?
Well, you know, I've been called out for this multiple times. I've got a bit of a bias for people that use Lamborghinis a lot, and Ismail Lebrec is usually my go-to pick for any Lamborghini in a race. But of course, we have Lamborghinis everywhere here today, so I can't really, lean on my bias there. I've got to cheer them all on the exact same. But I have to say, I mean, look, he's the easy pick, isn't he, for the Evo class? But you'd be foolish to go against the likes of Elvin Smith. I mean, he's looked absolutely unstoppable in qualifying. Of course, the race is a completely different monster, especially in these cars. We're looking at 20 degrees track temp and clear skies, some clouds in the air. But of course, we're looking at a very nice dry race for the duration of the 60 minutes that they will be underway. So I'm going to go for Elvin Smith for the win tonight. It's the easy pick. It's the boring pick, but it's the sensible pick.
Yeah, you can't argue with those lap times because numbers, I'd say numbers don't lie, but who knows? Anything can happen. This is racing after all. Do you know, I think when it comes to the Super Trofeos, I think I'm rooting for Billy Octane. Obviously, that name is just so cool. You can't get around it.
Billy Octane, I've said it before, coolest name in sim racing. I mean, you can't. I'd be trademarking that, to be honest, if I was him. You know, get that on a T-shirt. But yeah, I mean, for the Super Trofeo class, Zeman and Hilakalio very, very close between each other for qualifying. Billy Octane in that mix as well. And, you know, I think any of those three realistically have a chance at taking a win here tonight. Obviously, you're going to go for Billy Octane for the Super Trofeo class. I'm going to put my money on Hilakalio here tonight. Haven't seen him around here at RCI too much, so he's not one of the familiar names. But I'm always up for rooting for a newcomer.
oh yeah, you have to root for potential underdogs and kind of people who we don't quite necessarily know the pace of. So it's really interesting to kind of see how these people get on and how they stack up with the known familiar names that we've all come to know and love. So going down the order, we have Elvin Smith in first. We have Weidelich in second, Chorus in third. Fourth, we have Gillies, Loro in P5, Wurst in P6, Sweeney in P7, Berg in P8, Delu in P9, Schumacher in P10. Hicken is going to take P11. Madzor's taking P12. 13 is taken by Briggs. Was it Samogi? So sorry for butchering names there. In P14. Nanthan is going to take P15. Skinner in P16. 17 is Garda. And 18th is the first of the Super Trails with Zeman. Hikikelio in second for the STs in number 19. Billy Octane's going to take 20th for taking up the final podium row on the grid for the Trofeos. Martha's is going to take P21. Bugden is going to take P22. Renaud is going to take P23. Burgess P24. Partica in P25. Pietzak in 26. 27th is Sienko, 28th is Danjo, 29th is Hartley, 20th is Cole, and 31st is Lebrec, obviously with that kind of late qualifying shunt into the pit wall, which is quite unfortunate. How do we feel he's going to be making up this traffic?
I mean, I've seen Ismail Lebrec race a few times now within a previous community that I did commentary for, and of course here at RCI. So I know what he's capable of, and let me tell you, he knows this car inside out. He does very well in this car. He pulled off a wonderful race here at Kyalami not too long ago in the multi-class GT series in monsoon conditions. The Lamborghini hates the rain. But Ismail Lebrec, who qualified, I think it was about P6 in dry conditions, he then got spun in the rain, was at the back of the pack after the first lap, fought his way all the way back up to 5th. Absolutely incredible race from him, and you know he knows this car well. I'm expecting him to slice his way through the Super Trofeo field towards the start of the race and then start making his way up through the rest of them. I would not put him outside of the possibility of getting into a top 5, but a top 10 needs to be the minimum he achieves today to consider it a job well done.
I was going to say a top 10 from that far back would be quite an achievement, but top 5 in your prediction, that goes to show just how much this guy knows this car. As you said, I don't think I've seen him drive anything different, and I've been on track with him before during some practice sessions, and he is scary. He is really, really quick.
So, of course, on the formation lap now, Elvin Smith for THR, Team Highlands Racing. He's got them all going around. They're just coming into sunset now. And, of course, ACC does not split the classes when it comes to starting, so they will all start together in a bunch. Obviously, usually in multi-class racing, you do see the classes start segmented, so of course, the fastest class will start first, second class will start after, and so on. We don't have that, so the STs are going to be starting right on the back of the Evo field, and that's going to be really, really interesting because, like I said, the STs are quick in a straight line. They won't be beating the Evos down to turn 1. Let's you know, let's put the reality of the situation in hand. They're not going to be beating them on the start down to turn 1. However, they are going to be right on the back of the Evos coming into turn 1. And the problem that presents themselves there is that the STs have to brake earlier for turn 1 because they don't have the braking capabilities that the Evos have. There are some slight differences between the braking capabilities of each car. And another thing to consider is that if there's a crash in the Evo field, the STs have to be ready for it, or they're going to get caught up in it.
Yeah, there's a lot of cars in front of those STs, and it's going to be very, very kind of dicey seeing exactly how they approach to deal with that kind of situation as they go down into Crowthorns. But anyway, we're going into double file now. We're waiting for the green light. The leader, Elvin Smith, going round crocodiles at the moment as the pack is all bunching up. You can feel the anticipation from here. It's gonna be quite a good start as we grind in the corner of Ingwe. Oh no, we're going through cheat at the moment. Sorry, that's my bad. But no, we're going around the penultimate corners now to head towards down to the green light.
Yep, so here we are, the Lamborghini Masters Cup event at Kyalami. 1 hour of racing coming up. Lamborghini Evos at the front of the pack. Lamborghini Super Trofeos at the back of the pack. Ismail Lebrec starting right at the back. It's Elvin Smith and Luka Weidelich on the front row of the grid. We wait for the lights to go out, and they are out. We're green here at Kyalami. It looks like a good start for Elvin Smith. But Weidelich is going to be right alongside him as they go through turn 1, and it looks like Weidelich might even have the pace to take Elvin Smith into the first corner. They'll be nice and late on the brakes, side by side, but it looks like Weidelich is going to be able to carry the pace. Elvin Smith will make sure to take the place through Yuxke and into Barbecue.
Yeah, there's no getting past Smith at this point in time because he is absolutely in the mindset. He is defending quite well. On screen now we have Madzo, and it looks like one of the Super Trofeos has gone off. It looks like there's a little bit of contact, but it looks like everyone has rejoined the race safely. Everyone's settling down now, and again, you're seeing the straight line speed of those STs. As this move's being made of Madzo, he is getting rammed through Sunset, heading down into Clubhouse, and the order is changing up through a lot, and Elvin Smith will hold first, and it's actually creating a bit of a gap in front. There's nothing really changing in the lead.
I've been watching the likes of Ismail Lebrec on this first lap. I said he would slice his way through the Super Trofeo field as soon as he got the opportunity. Well, I can tell you from the back of the grid in 31st, he's already up to 20th on the grid. He is slicing his way through these Super Trofeos. He's in fact coming up to the leaders in the Super Trofeo class right now. And he's just gone past another 2 of them. As he comes down out of Leukop and towards Mineshaft, we can see Lubomir Zeman here at the moment. He's pressuring Briggs in the GT3 Evo. So we can already see the Super Trofeos starting to get dicey with some of the Evos on the straights, on the really, really fast sections of this circuit. But as we come to the end of the first lap, Elvin Smith will maintain his lead from Luka Weidelich, Valentin Chorus, and Alistair Gillies. The top 4 remain as they started.
Yeah, it was a pretty dicey first lap, but at the end of the day, everyone got through safely. It's definitely going to be interesting. Lebrec is making another move on Nanthan right now, but on screen we have Andrew Berg just going down into the braking zone. He thinks about it, but no, he's just going to tuck in behind and then gets the inside, and he can just use a little bit more of that grip just to kind of pull around the outside. But obviously, I think Lebrec's now caught up with the actual Evos as well, so he's back at his own class bunch. Octane is doing a really good job as well with Octane's up in P14 now. He just got passed by Zeman. So Zeman's obviously maintaining that cup class lead as well. This is genuinely quite interesting, guys.
Yeah, it's definitely looking interesting. A few of the GT3 Evo guys have lost positions at the start of the race, and they're going to have to work their way through the Super Trofeo field a lot quicker than they would have expected to. They will be lapping them at some point during this race. But, of course, that is to come later on. Elvin Smith still leads. He's doing a phenomenal job so far at the start of the race. But don't discount the 2 FTW Lamborghinis behind him. They'll probably be playing the long game right now. Keep it clean, keep it consistent, and show what you can do towards the end of the race once traffic starts becoming much more significant. We're looking at Andrew Berg. He's another one of the THR drivers alongside Elvin Smith here tonight. He's in the 904. And then Chris Sweeney is also a THR driver here tonight in the 66. Of course, both of those guys in the AM class for the GT3 Evos. Elvin Smith representing the pros. And as I am looking down the order now, Ismail Lebrec is coming up to the back of Lubomir Zeman. And you can actually see here now, Ismail Lebrec does have a bit of an edge on straight line speed compared to Lubomir Zeman coming down into turn 1, but it's not significant. But now Lebrec has managed to get past the entire Super Trofeo field in just a couple of laps, and he finds himself in 13th place.
I now see exactly what you mean. That top 5 finish is definitely within sight, because we've still got 55 minutes of this race left. That's still a significant amount of time, as we're seeing Alistair Gillies, so going through down towards the S's. And he's running a P4 right now, but he's coming under pressure from P. Loro in the Lamborghini behind him, and closely followed by Wust as well. Wust isn't too far out of the fray either, so as long as those guys can actually start catching up to the leaders, we could be looking in with like a 6-way battle for the lead. Well, not for the lead, but for definitely the top 2 positions.
Lubomir Zeman in the ST class at the moment. He's got another GT3 Evo to get past him at the moment. Oh, and there's a bit of contact up towards Leukop. The number 17, I think that was of Nanthan, was just a bit too late on the brakes. And of course, you know, Zeman went as wide as he could to say, look, you know, you can come on through. But he wasn't expecting him to go that deep. And now we can also see the Barwell Motorsport car, the number 24 of Delu. He's going to take a position from Nanthan through the crocodiles. And Lubomir Zeman will be thinking to himself at the moment, my word, how many of you GT3 Evos do I have to let past before I can start focusing on racing my race and get away from Billy Octane?
It's like a horde of wasps behind you. I can imagine it feels very tense in that hot seat there, as we're looking behind on Zeman's car now, going down into T1. That lime green Evo just making its way past, as you would kind of expect. Nanthan is going to take a look on the inside too, though. He's going to take a really inside line and just barely got to cross over. He's going to start back in, but a little bit of a touch again, going back into Sunset. He's just getting a little bit caught up behind there, as Octane gives him a little bit of a nudge. Come on, mate, you know, you're slowing us both up here. These guys are definitely dicing about.
Yeah, Zeman, well, he had to go and take the place back from Nanthan, didn't he? I mean, he couldn't just afford to slow down and make sure that that Nanthan's Evo stayed ahead of him. He's going to have to let him pass again now. This is the 3rd time that Nanthan has tried to get past Zeman. It looks like he makes it stick cleanly this time. But of course, it's not all over yet, because now Zeman can finally look behind and start to focus on what he should be focusing on, which is Billy Octane. But I don't think it's going to stay that way for long, as you can see Antonio Guarda getting past Billy Octane at the moment, and then he's going to be on the back of Lubomir Zeman as well. So Zeman's going to have more GT3 Evo company within the next lap. So it's all not over yet. Some of the Evos having a bit of trouble on the race start, and of course dropping positions. And this has compromised their races massively. You can see the number 38 of Renaud. He's one of the AM cars in the Super Trofeo class tonight. And he's going to be looking to keep that place well and truly locked down. Budgeon is the 2nd place Super Trofeo car. We're looking at Richard Skinner right now. He's closing in on Shamarin. Both of these guys in GT3 Evos in the AM class down into turn 1. Or turn 2 technically on this circuit. And Skinner will try and go around the outside, but he's going to be forced wide.
So you've seen Lere, he's almost in the top 10 already, just 10 minutes into this race, as he makes his way down towards Sunset. He's right on the back of Skinner, he'll be getting that slipstream. And will he be able to make a move going into the turn? I don't think he will. He's just a little bit too far back, but he's in the prime spot to start planning for an attack, maybe going into the S's or going into the hairpin up the hill. He's gonna go to the inside of the clubhouse, and there's gonna be a little bit of contact, and Skinner is gonna have a little bit of step over steer, but he will get through, but not exactly cleanly.
No, definitely not the cleanest of overtakes from Ismail Lebrec, but he will take it. Unfortunately, we have no live stewarding here tonight, so any incidents will not be looked into live by our stewards. But Ismail Lebrec, he won't be looking out for push to pass. You know, he's not that kind of racer, and I'm sure it wasn't intentional as well. These cars are so on the edge. The Lamborghini, if you've ever driven it in ACC, you'll know how on the edge it is. And it's so difficult to keep it consistent and keep it clean in this car throughout a 60-minute race, or even longer if you plan to run it in an enduro. Looking at Alistair Gillies right now, he's under pressure by Loro in the 99. He's the first of the AM GT3 Evos. As you can see, a Super Trofeo leaving the pit lane.
Going down to T1, that is going to cause a little bit of traffic, which means that Loro can take a look on the inside, and it looks like he's just gotten past. He's just slipped in quite nicely. I don't know if Gillies can actually counter that. They're going down into T2 and T3. But again, when it comes down to Sunset, we've seen the same corners that we saw Skinner and Lebrec having a dice in before. And Gillies looks like he has got the speed, and he has pulled ahead again, I think. Yes, he has. He has got through again, going just into Sunset. So lots of positions changing there. As in the background, we see Darren Russ spinning as well, going into Clubhouse.
Oh.
And that's caused contact as well.
There's been contact with a Super Trofeo car there, I think. Yes, there has. He's come back across. Didn't have the brakes on as he came back across the track. It's the #1 rule you learn. Is as soon as your car goes spinning, you hit the brakes, you stop your car from rolling back onto the track. And unfortunately, well, that's rather ended Sebastian Sienko's race. He was in the Super Trofeo class. He was a car that got tagged. I mean, his race was a bit ruined from the start. He was already a lap down after coming out of the pit lane. Dustin Vust is not having an easy time of it either. His car has got significant damage. He's struggling to get it round the circuit up towards Leeuwkop. So I think Dustin Vust's race might well and truly be over. It might be curtains for him so soon. Chris Sweeney is also in the pit lane. He's dropping down the field. I think he got caught up in that incident as well, potentially. So yeah, I did say it before. Incidents around this circuit are not slow, and they have big consequences.
They really are. That was a heavy hit. Obviously, 3 cars involved from what I saw there. But yeah, that was crazy. As Lebrec, he's in P8. 10 minutes into the race, he's made it from dead last to P8, and he's taking a look at Shamarin going down into the going down towards Sunset now, isn't he? So. Yes, now going towards Sunset through Barbecue. So again, can we see another move on Lebrec going through Sunset? Because as we've just seen, if you get it wrong there, it can result in a pretty heavy consequence. So Shaman, he hit the brakes just also slightly, and he has allowed Lebrec to catch up right up. And Lebrec will get through, and Clubhouse as well taking a look on the inside, as we didn't quite get to see that pass there.
Shamarin rather let him through there. He was very, very early on the brakes, the number 46, kind of thinking to himself, well, Lebrec's a pro car, I'm an AM car. Of course, we can battle, but I'm racing my own race and want to keep it clean. As we can see Briggs at the moment, he's got Hicken right behind him. And they're going to be going toe-to-toe up towards Leeuwkop at the moment. But yeah, Ismail Lebrec up to 7th place in the opening 12 minutes of this race. I did tell you to watch out for him. He's going to be one of those guys last to first challenge here for Lebrec. I think first probably a bit out of his reach. But I tell you what, top 5 well and truly on.
I think you might be right there. I saw a orange Lamborghini spin just in the back of that last shot there, and I'm trying to look through my timing sheets to find out exactly who it is, and I can't actually see, but that was a pretty hefty spin as well.
It would have been Skinner.
That would be correct. Yes, he is in the orange Evo. So
he was running up in the top 10, and he's come into the pit lane now as well. He's got damage on that car. So he's definitely the one that spun. Good eye there to catch that in the background. And, of course, he's come into the pit lane, service some damage on that car. We're looking at Dustin Vust. He's obviously the car that got caught up in the incident with Sebastian Sienko and Chris Sweeney. And he's definitely got damage on that car, I believe. He's already been into the pit lane to repair some of that damage. So, of course, he'll be making his way around. Elvin Smith still leads the race. We haven't seen much of him. 4.6 second lead. Kind of just running his own race at the moment. Elvin Smith just doing exactly what he needs to do. But I tell you what, it's not really running your own race here in 9th place. Richard Briggs, he is under pressure from... It's Hicken, actually, isn't it? Just behind him. He's got past Hicken. The timing board hasn't quite updated, it seems.
No, and right behind Hicken, I think we also have that lime green Audi Lambo as well. No, Hicken is right on the tail of Briggs. Yes, I think you're absolutely correct there. Sorry. As we go down the mine shaft into the crocodiles, he's still a bit too far back, but he is going to take a look on the outside. I think he just set off the brakes a little bit too early there. He closed that gap right up and had to kind of stamp on it again. But he's maximising that exit on the run down to Cheetah. the gap's opened up just a tiny little bit. It's going to be enough that he can catch him towards T1. Maybe if he can get a good exit through Ingwe, maybe, just maybe, he can get that move made and stuck. But let's not count Delu as well as well, because he is also catching that pack as well. So we're looking for a three-way battle here.
Yeah, of course, these guys, the more they fight, the more they bunch themselves up. Richard Briggs goes for an enormous dive bomb into the second corner. And actually, no, sorry, it was Hicken that on Briggs, sorry, a dive bomb into the second corner. And he gets the move done. My word, I thought he was way too late. I thought he was never going to make the corner. It wasn't, I mean, I called it a dive bomb. It wasn't exactly dangerous. He wasn't near Briggs. There wasn't any risk of an incident. So just an incredibly late move. And that's brought Delu into play as well now, because Briggs has lost some time because of that. I've just been looking at the time board. Ismail Lebrec's up to 6th now. He's got a bit of a gap between himself and Loro, but I think about 9 seconds it is, 8-9 seconds between Lebrec and Loro at the moment. So Ismail Lebrec up to 6th, and P5 soon within his sights.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be long until he starts catching, because Loro's fastest lap so far of this entire race has been a 141.778, but Lebrec's has been a 141.160, which isn't too far off the average time for the qualifying times. So bear in mind, this is the start of the race, so it's a heavier car. Obviously, the tyres are going to be struggling more. The braking points are going to be a lot earlier than they would have been in quali. So to be only like a second or so behind is actually pretty impressive. But if we want to talk about lap times, we've got Alvin Smith, who's with a 140.254, which I believe is only a second off of around a second off of the lap time he actually put in for quali, as we're seeing Mazda around the final corner, going down the start finish straight down towards the King.
Lubomir Zeman coming through the final corner. He is the leader of the Super Trofeos at the moment. We have Renaud behind him. He's one of the AM Super Trofeos. Hilacalio then behind. Billy Octane is, of course, the first of the Super Trofeos, I think, to have gone into the pit lane to complete their mandatory pit stop. Actually, no, in fact, Partica... Oh, no, Partica isn't in the Super Trofeo. I'm getting a bit caught out here. But Billy Octane's been in for a pit stop, so it's going to be interesting to see where he comes out once the rest of the Super Trofeo cars have been in and completed that mandatory stop. In case anyone's wondering, the mandatory stop is 1 litre of fuel. You are free to take tyres if you wish, but of course it's not mandatory. And I mean, I very much doubt anyone's going to be taking tyres here today. It's an evening race. It's nice and cool here at Kyalami at the moment. 19 degrees on track, 15 degrees air temperature. And, you know, it's only a 1-hour race, so I think tyres are going to be well and truly out of the question. You know, people aren't going to be taking them. As we are now looking at Briggs, he's under pressure from Delu. So they're going to come in towards the Crocodiles. Delu will look on the inside line. Is he going to have the pace? Ooh, Briggs comes back across. And he keeps the position. Good defending there. Could have been a bit of an accident, but Delu backed out of it in time. And as they come towards the final corner now, Briggs will hold on to 10th place. But Delu in that Barwell Motorsport 24 Lamborghini GT3 Evo is looking interested.
He is. You can see he's looking for opportunity. On board with Gillies at the moment, going through Sunset, and he's catching the back of Laura. He is closing that gap. Well, the gap was closed, but Laura sorry, I'm just being informed. Laura has just gotten past Gillies as well, so that was the position change right there. So those guys are still fighting at the front. Chorus in P3 is very, very close to Weidlich in P2 as well, so he is closing that gap by a tenth of a second since I last looked at the timing sheet, but it looks like they are very close to each other as well, so we could be seeing a move from those guys in the upcoming few laps, even if corners. Be interested to see as well how the cars that have stopped, how the undercut is also going to affect them as well, because it seems that the pit lane could be getting quite busy, and we'll be expecting cars in around about 10 minutes time as well.
Yeah, so a quick update on the full standings for you. Elvin Smith still leads the way after almost 19 minutes of the race down. Weidlich in second and Chorus in third. The two FTW cars rounding out the podium places at the moment in the Evo class. So we look further down. The first of the STs, of course, still Lubomir Zeman. But
And
now it is Hilicalio in second, because Renault has just been overtaken by the 56 Super Trofeo. And, of course, Billy Octane, as we mentioned before, who did start in the top 3 for the Super Trofeos, he has gone in and completed his mandatory pit stops, so he would probably be a bit closer to them once all the pit stops are done and dusted.
Yeah, it's probably also worth saying now, as the top 3 were going through T1, we had, was it Richie Hartley facing the wrong way in T1 as well, so maybe something happened to that Super Trofeo as well, as we're seeing Richard Briggs, and it seems to be that Madso again is looking at going for a look on the inside of T1. There is contact. He is going to spin him around slightly, and he's and it's going to allow Nanthan to get past as well. He just came just a little bit too hot there, just too late on the brakes, and just couldn't really react to that. And I think Nanthan's going to be like, okay, that's a place. Thank you very much, and he'll be very happy with that.
Yeah, Madso did slow down to give the place back to Briggs, though, so he's obviously said to himself, look, yep, that was my bad, I was at fault, I'll give the place back to you, no worries, dude. And of course, Briggs will be a bit frustrated that he's lost a position to Nanthan, but of course, there won't be too much doing here, as we see Wadlich and Chorus coming into the pit lane in sequence, and of course, Chorus almost going into the back of his teammate. Coming into the pit lane. We have seen that happen before, people going into the back of one another in the pit lane. And, sometimes it results in a stop and go 30 for the person you ended up shunting, because they sometimes speed in the pit lane. But all good there between the teammates, and they're going to look to get their mandatory pit stop done soon and continue on to the rest of the race.
Yeah, a quick update on Lebrec as well. It seems he's in P4 right now. He still has to make a stop, but I think, yeah, all the top 4 are still yet to make their mandatory stop as well. So, from starting dead last on the grid to P4 at this point, and we're not even halfway through the race. That's a pretty immense job catching up there.
The theoretical P6, though, because obviously we know that Widerlich and Chorus are in fact ahead of him. Once pit stops are done, so it's P4 at the moment. It's a theoretical P6. The next position actually on track for Lebrec is 4.2 seconds down the road. That's Alistair Gillies, and if Lebrec gets past Gillies, that puts him into the top 5. So, it might have sounded a bit ridiculous when I said it at the start of the race. I said, don't discount this man out of a top 5. A few people, they haven't said it in chat, but they probably thought to themselves, what is this guy talking about? P5. Well, it's looking more and more likely every lap as he's just closed 0.7 of a second in the last sector to Gillies.
That is pretty significant, as we're on board with Luka Weidlich at the moment running in P5. So he's come out of his pits, he's served his mandatory pit stop, and Andrew Berg again going through, I believe that's the Crocodiles. Just catching up to Chorus, who has obviously made his stop as well. So we're going to be seeing, hopefully get to see Andrew Berg kind of catching the back of that car and seeing a bit more of a battle there as well. So Chorus has lost about 3 seconds in his pit stop as well, I believe. So that's obviously going to set him back a little bit.
Yeah, that's not ideal. He was about... it was about 6 or 0.7 of a second when they both came across into the pit lane. So, yeah, Chorus has definitely lost out somewhere. Might have been a bit slow coming out of his pit box. Might have overshot his pit box slightly and had to readjust. We see that way more often than you would think, that could be one of the reasons as to why he lost time. But of course, what it does mean is that Widerlich and Chorus will come out in the order they came in. Widerlich still in front. And I'm keeping an eye on that timing board, and that gap between Lebrec and Gillies is getting smaller and smaller. We're looking at Zelika Madso at the moment, though. He is currently being overtaken by Anthony Guarda, and the move made fairly easy for the red Lamborghini there, the number 86, of course. One of the pro class cars, so Madso not wanting to put up too much of a fight with a car that he's realistically not fighting for a class position for. And behind, in fact, is the number 66 Lamborghini, behind the likes of Zelico Madso. And as I look down the list, 66 is Chris Sweeney, actually. Yes, it's one of the cars that got caught up in the incident with Dustin Vust and Sebastian Sienko. And of course, he's a couple of laps down, I believe. So, you know, he's just trying to unlap himself. He's just trying to carry on with his race and recover whatever he can from this race. And well, to do that, his first order of business is to get himself unlapped for the first time from Zelico Madso.
Yeah, he'll be very much looking to actually get that done. As we're seeing Rydix come down towards sunset. Lebrec is actually now within sight of Gillies as well. So Gillies is less than a quarter ahead now. They're coming down into Clubhouse. So he's made up a massive amount of time in that very short space of time as well. He's looking at pushing for P3. Lap time wise, best lap times, he seems to be about on par with Chorus as well. So the pit stop is going to be very touch and go as to whether or not he can actually hold on to this potential podium position. But let's not discount him here.
I think for Lebrec at the moment, he's just going to run his own race. He's going to see what he can get out of this. And in fact, it's not just Gillies that he can see. He can see Loro as well. Loro is only 1.4 seconds up the road. You can see him there just coming into the Crocodiles in front of a rather bright pink Super Trofeo car. As Lebrec will get around the outside of Billy Octane, he'll come up towards Cheetah! Super Trofeo on the apex! Oh, cuts across him as well, coming down towards Ingwe. Wow, that could have been a massive, massive accident, but Lebrec, just about gets out of the way to not run into the back of that Super Trofeo. That could have been horrific towards the final corner.
That could be huge. As we see Skinner as well, he's also, it looks like he's doing donuts on the outside of turn 1 there. So he's had a bit of an accident there as well. But yeah, Lebrec did a really good job not getting tangled up with that Super Trofeo. Now we can just focus on catching Gillies, and there is clean air between the two now. Skinner obviously not going to be jabbing up the undercut. You know, the potential undercut hasn't quite worked in his position. But no, I think right now the progress on Lebrec is genuinely something to keep in mind. I'm looking down to see if there's any other battles going on, and I can't really see anything as of yet. But this is a really good combo, guys. Like, this is it's shaped to be a really good race.
Yeah, we will have some more rather unique manufacturer kind of class combination races coming up fairly soon, in fact. We'll have an announcement for the next Monday championship, which will be something a bit similar to this. Not quite going to be the same, but it will be kind of along the same lines. And that'll be announced at the end of Monday's stream. Of course, the GT4 championship finishing this Monday, of course, this coming Monday. And we're looking forward to the finale of that. I should have George Smith alongside me in the box for that one. It's going to look very, very interesting. I think there's only about 7 points between the two championship contenders, so very, very exciting. But back to the excitement here, and we're on board right now with Elvin Smith. He's just running his race as he's kind of looks like he's going for a Sunday stroll, or Saturday stroll rather in this case, even though we do have the race taking place on a Sunday. And you know, it's all looking fairly comfortable right now for the likes of Elvin Smith, but I'm sure in that cockpit it's anything but comfortable with these cars.
Oh no, completely. This car is an absolute knife edge to drive, especially in the Evos. There's, as I said, two different models, two very, very different styles of driving as well. But Elvin just has the pace just to kind of keep up there, try and keep comfortable. He's got a comfortable gap behind him. All he has to do now is just keep his head down and just keep pushing that car. Just to kind of keep that pace and that gap up. Lebrec is catching up to Gillies even more just to keep you updated on that gap. There's only a half-second gap in it. Loro has gone slightly wide going down into the S's. So that's going to cost him a little bit of time as well, as we see Elvin Smith make his way around through Cheetah, this amazing helmet cam going through into Ingwe, on the inside of one of the Super Trofeos, but he is just about going to make that work and make his way through that piece of traffic. Little flashing of lights in frustration there as well, it seems.
Luka Weidelich making his way through some traffic as well. He's just been lapping Billy Octane, as I've just seen Ismail Lebrac go late on the brakes, and he is past the likes of Alistair Gillies through the crocodiles. Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh. Oh my word! Heart in mouth moment. Ismail Lebrac coming out. Oh, how did he save that?
That's extreme.
That is the best save I have ever seen in ACC. Hands down.
I'm at a loss for words, actually. I don't know what to say about that. That was brilliant.
Take a bow, Ismail Lebrac. What a save. I mean, completely unintentional entry into the pit lane. But I suppose he'll have to take his mandatory pit stop now.
But that's kind of good news because he's also coming out, and if you look at the cars ahead of him, the majority haven't made their stop yet, so that could actually work out in his favor to some degree if he just keeps going the way he has been, because he's been on fire this race.
Oh, I think we all need a moment to calm down. We've only reached the halfway point of this race. 30 minutes to go. I've just seen Ismail Lebrac come from the back of the grid to a potential podium spot, or theoretical provisional podium spot. And now he's just made an unbelievable save and thrown his car into the pit lane. No damage on that car, by the way, from that incident. Didn't hit the wall. I have to say, I mean, if he finishes, you know, top 5, which is looking likely, that save is going to be moment of the race for him.
No, I think that's the moment of this race, not just for him, but for anyone from actually watching this. Obviously, he's been watching quite the fair amount of initial D, shall we say, as we're looking at Lubomir Zeman at the moment as he's making his way down to Sunset, just trying to chase back on the back of Mazda. But again, he is. You're also looking at the leader of the Super Trofeos as well, so seems like he's pulling ahead of Hikikario as well, so which is going to be he's obviously got the pace on that, and he's controlling the Super Trofeo race, because don't forget, guys, this is technically 2 races that we're watching as well, with it being multi-class, as much as we're seeing these cars kind of tangle and intermingle with each other.
It's, I mean, if you wanted to go one step further, you could even say it's technically 4 different races in one, because of course we have Pro and Am classes for each of the car classes here tonight. So we have the Pro Evos, the Am Evos, the Pro STs, and the Am STs. So, you know, we technically have 4 races going on tonight, all on one track. And, you know, it's going to be incredibly exciting to see where it all happens. Berg is in the pit lane, by the way, in the 904 Evo. He's come in to do his mandatory pit stop. And we're looking at Schumacher at the moment. We were looking at Schumacher, and he's second at the moment in the Am class for the Evos. And he has, who is this? The number 67 behind him. And, of course, he'll have lapped the number 67. So, of course, that's just going to be traffic behind him. Actually, no, that's not the 67, actually.
No, that's Lebrac behind him. Lebrac has come out just behind him, and...
it's the 57 behind him. It's Hicken. So he is a lap down. I was correct on that one, at least. Yeah, so it's Hicken in 21st place. He's a lap down. So Schumacher, who's starting to pull away from him. So we have a look at the timing board now. Quite a few guys have come in for their mandatory pit stops. And, of course, they'll be well and truly on their way. You can see a few of the GT3 Evos mixed amongst the Super Trofeos at the moment still. Of course, some of these guys will be mixed in because of pit stops, other ones because of incidents and the such. So, you know, they're still a bit mixed up, but we should see all of the Evos in front of the STs by the end of the race. And I think it was a bit of a quote from our broadcaster tonight, Mike Jones, earlier on in the race, where he said, Lubomir Zeman probably laps Kyalami in the ST quicker than he could do a GT3 car around here.
I mean, you know, Ryan, you're not wrong. I was running some laps on the Lambo the other day, or on Kyalami the other day, and was barely running as fast as he's running in the ST. So, yeah, pretty much.
So that's my one roast of the broadcaster per stream, completed, mandatory. And we will now... Well, okay, look, let's not hurt feelings now, right? Let's get back to the racing action. So Ismail Lebrec coming back up to this traffic at the moment. Of course, Shimmering is the car he's going to have to get past on track. Hasn't made his mandatory pit stop yet, the number 46, but of course he's racing in a different class. He'll likely not hold up the likes of Ismail Lebrec, so that will bump Lebrec back up to 6th. And, Loro is in the pit lane. So this is going to be interesting now. As Pablo Loro comes into the pit lane, where is Lebrec going to be in comparison to Loro? Because, of course, Lebrec was catching both Gillies and Loro. In fact, he did get past Gillies, so it'll be interesting to see where he comes out now to the likes of Loro, who would have been the next car in line had Lebrec not had to pull that incredible save-off. And Loro is in the pit lane for a lot longer than a 1 litre of fuel splash and dash, so that means that Ismail Lebrec is going to go past him, so Lebrec will jump Loro in the pit lane. He should still be ahead of Alistair Gillies on track. So I think, once all the pit stops are said and done, Ismail Lebrec could be sitting in 4th place.
Not just that, I don't think Chorus is too far the road either. Chorus is currently going through, I believe he's going down to Sunset right now. So he's not that far ahead, he's not that far down the road. As we see Lebrec getting a little bit of grass trying to get around Shummerin. Obviously, the white 67 denotes the professional class compared to the red amateur class, as he's going to go around the outside of Sunset. So to clarify, the white of the car number, it means the pro class, and the red, I believe, means the amateur class. So you can easily kind of follow kind of what kind of skill level these drivers are going to kind of categorize themselves into. As the back has made that move stiffly, he's coming up to the back of Billy Octane. You see, it's going to be... And Octane is going to let him by. He's going into the hairpin. He's going to have the outside, and he's going to get by absolutely fine as he's hunting down the Lamborghini of that 27 driven by Chorus.
Yeah, so Ismail Lebrec now into the top 5 provisionally. Should be top 4 once Gillies completes his mandatory pit stop. We're looking at Weidelich at the moment. He's in 3rd place, technically 2nd place once Gillies comes into the pit lane. And he's just running his own race. His teammate, Chorus, was a bit slow in the pit lane, 3.7 seconds back. He's theoretically running in a podium spot, Chorus, once Gillies has pitted. And you can see lovely sunset here at Kyalami as it's 5:45 in the evening local time. Really, really nice lighting and conditions here to watch a race, not particularly to drive in. Having the sun in your eyes is one of the worst feelings ever, as you can kind of see that there from Chorus's perspective as he's coming now through Clubhouse. And yeah, I think that's one of the really, you know, interesting challenges, I would say, of racing in different times of the day. Is obviously, you know, at times like this in the evening, you know, you have the sun coming down, and depending on which part of the track you're on, it could, you know, impede you a lot more than others. And I mean, well, I'll ask you, Joshua. I mean, you know, does racing in the evening, potentially having the sun obscure your vision through a couple of corners, does that frustrate you, or is it something that, you know, doesn't really bother you?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think it's an enjoyable experience as much as it can also be frustrating as well. Obviously, I've missed so many apexes and breaking points just by having the sun in your eyes as well. But I think a lot of these guys might have adjusted graphic settings to make sure that is minimized as much as they can. But this is obviously, I think they're missing out if they do that, because the lighting effects in this are so beautiful, especially around Kyalami.
So Richard Briggs being chased down by Zeljko Madso again, and oh my word, the front end of that Lamborghini has taken a bit of a beating so far today. And we saw Zeljko Madso run into the back of Briggs earlier on in the race, and he'll be hoping for a much cleaner move next time round, as Lebrec has now lapped Skinner. And ooh, was there a bit of contact there coming into the first corner? I think there was. We're going to get a replay here. And into the braking zone, Skinner comes... Oh, yes! Ooh. Just a little bit of a shunt. And,
it's just still going on.
That wasn't retaliation, was it? From I mean, I don't... I've seen Ismail Lebrecht drive quite a few times. He does not come across as, he does not come across as the kind of driver that would do something like that. Obviously, we didn't catch the full picture of it. We were just coming back from a replay, but it's getting a bit tense out there.
Yeah, that looked like they were just side by side, so maybe those lines diverged. Who knows? It could have been anything, but Lebrecht did lose time to that, obviously, but he is still... actually, what is the gap between him and... The gap, from my screen, it looks like it is shrinking also slightly, 20-second gap, so... it's still... He's got a long way to go if he wants to catch Chorus and try to push for that podium. And there's only 20 minutes of the race left to go. He's impressed us so far, but can he keep that up?
I think a podium position, to be honest, is probably out of Lebrecht's reach, and I think, to be honest, though, coming from the back of the grid, 31st place, all the way up to a provisional P4 at the moment. I mean, you can't call it a bad job, can you? I mean, he'd have to be driver of the day if we were giving out awards from from that perspective. We're looking at Loro at the moment, and he's looking to lap the likes of Billy Octane in the Super Trofeo. Of course, Billy Octane, Super Trofeo Pro class. He's running third in the ST Pro class, and Loro's going to have the inside line. Billy Octane, he'll go wide, given the space, and easily done.
Yeah, absolutely no point in fighting that. It just slows both drivers down. As we're still on board with I believe the ST leader, which is Lubomir Zeman, who is coming down into the Crocodiles right now, on the back of Mazda in the Evo. So obviously two classes of cars, but they've been close pretty much this entire race as well. So it's kind of impressive to see just how quick. Obviously, we said earlier how this guy is probably quicker around this track in the ST than the Evo itself. As we're going on board with Pierre, not on board with, but we're riding with Pierzak right now, who's going, I think he's just been lapped as well. So it's going a little bit slow through Clubhouse, but has he got a problem there? I can't tell.
This was the pink Lamborghini, I think, that Ismail Lebrecht almost ran into the back of at the final corner. Ismail Lebrecht's had quite an eventful race, although I suppose you do have quite an eventful race when you start at the back of the pack when you should be running at the front. It's kind of hard to have a boring race, but looking at Travis Hicken at the moment in 18th place, he's had his fair share of problems here today. And he's got Skinner just in front of him. And it looks like Chris Sweeney's looking to unlap himself. But of course, all of these guys in the GT3 Evo. So of course, all the same machinery. And looks like Chris Sweeney will go to the inside, but he's not going to try and make a move. Richard Skinner looks to go wide. He does get it around fairly well. And this is one of the things that will kind of frustrate Sweeney, I think, at the moment, is he's just trying to run his own race. He's trying to unlap himself, get the best result he can, and he's clearly quicker than these guys in front. But of course, the last thing you want to do as a car that's a lap down is interfere with someone else's race, especially one as close as this, as Hicken is right on the back. He's pushing so hard to get past Skinner, and like I said, this will be frustrating Sweeney massively.
Yeah, it seems like he has the pace, he wants to get past, but obviously it's just traffic in the way. Obviously we're on board with again, but we're riding with Hicken at the moment, going through the S's, going up to the up the hill towards the hairpin. It's starting to get progressively darker as well, like visibly darker, and so we've passed that time of day where those rays of light are in your eyes as well. Weidelich is actually right up to Gillies as well in the fight for P2. Gillies obviously still has to make that mandatory stop, so Weidlich's really caught up quite well as well there.
Yeah, but if we look at the lap times, I mean, it's almost night and day, isn't it? The best lap time set by Elvin Smith. He's out on the front on his own, and he set a 1:40.2 as his fastest lap of the race. His last lap was a 1:41.3. And if we compare that to the best lap set by Weidlich's best lap is almost 0.6 of a second slower. And his previous lap was only 0.2 of a second slower, but still slower nonetheless. And I think it kind of just shows the difference here tonight. Elvin Smith, of course, you know, for THR, he's driving in the pro class. He is, you know, he is an esports class driver. You know, that can't be ignored, and he's definitely showing that kind of performance here tonight.
Yeah, there's obviously some very, very quick guys. Obviously, we've seen how Lere has been catching, so, you know, we're seeing a demonstration of some really quick driving here, but he's just demonstrating kind of the level above even the highest level of the guys we have racing today as well. Zwadlik is going to be going down through Cheetah, going into Ingwe to start another lap, and he's got to look on the inside. Can he make it stick? He's on the inside. He's parked his car. Yes, he has gone through. He passed in Ingwe going down the start-finish straight, and I think Gilly's going to be looking to try and tuck him behind and take that position back going into T1.
That was actually Zeman. He was getting passed in the Super Trofeo.
Oh, my timing boards are completely wrong, and I apologize.
Yeah, that was, yeah, you can see Gilles is actually behind. He's in the white FFF car, which have the best Lamborghini liveries of any Lamborghini on the grid. Fight me. And he's driving the white variant. I much prefer the black variant, but you know, I won't judge people. They're still gorgeous liveries either way. But Luka Wadlich, he's up into P2 on track at the moment, so he's pretty much got that position locked down. His teammate is about 4.3 seconds back, and he's pulling away from his teammate. So I think, to be honest, the FTW boys have the podium locked down. You know, barring any incident happening, which, you know, things can still happen. We've got just under 15 minutes of the race to go. Anything is still very much possible. We saw Dustin Buss get caught up with Sebastian Sienko. Anything can still happen. You can just, I mean, this car is so sensitive over the course of a stint. It can snap at you just like that. And it's one of the questions I had a lot from some of the AM drivers in the build-up to this event. We've had quite a few new drivers for this event. You know, a lot of them were asking me, because I don't know, you know, well, I say I don't know. I'm the Lamborghini guy in the community. So a lot of people kind of been asking me, what's the easier car to drive, the Super Trofeo or the Evo? The Super Trofeo is probably the easier car to just drive. It's harder to be consistent in the Super Trofeo, but it's easier to drive because the Super Trofeo will not have snaps through the corners that will try to kill you like the Evo tends to have every 3 or 4 laps.
Yeah, I think a really good question to ask is, a good answer for that question is of which of these cars is easier to drive. It's like, well, do you want to see the tree that kills you, or do you not want to see it? Because one will understeer straight into it, the other one will just snap oversteer to hit the rear end. So both these cars are not easy to drive, as you say. The one is slightly easier than the other, but consistency in a race like this is everything. As Elvin Smith has demonstrated. On board with Valentin Chorus in P4 for the win. Not for the win, it's Forgot to Warm Up Racing, which is a great team name. And he is counting down Gillies, but there's no really point in hunting because Gillies still has to make that mandatory pit stop in the 63 Lamborghini as they make their way down through the mineshaft.
Yeah, so Luka Wadlich just making his way round, as is his teammate Valentin Chorus. And yeah, so I think what we're going to do now is we might have the opportunity to take a bit of an onboard lap around here at Kyalami. And we're going to do it with the Super Trofeo of Lubomir Zeman. We're going to see what a lap of Kyalami looks like in this Super Trofeo car. So across the timing line he comes, and he'll go flat out through the first corner on the track, the kink. Completely flat in any car. Come down towards the braking zone, around about the 100-meter board, start braking into Crowthorne. Nice and tidy through there. Now he'll go up the Yuxke Sweep, and he'll rise towards Barbecue. This corner, much tighter than it appears. And of course the curb on the inside, enormous when you get up close to it. Now the run down to Sunset. Long right-hand corner as he comes in here. You've got to hold as high a gear as you dare Hope you don't understeer off the circuit. And he holds it very, very well. Now he'll come up towards Clubhouse Bend. Very high curb on the inside of this corner as well. Don't go too wide, you'll hit the gravel trap. And now he'll make his way down the S's. So important to get these corners right. Don't hit the curbs on the inside too much. They will send you flying. Don't go too wide on the exit either. You will invalidate your lap and pick up a warning. And now he'll rise up to the top of the hill. Liu Kop, the hairpin, goes through there nice and tight on the apex. And now he will make his way down the hill, down Mineshaft, towards the long left-hander, completely flat though in these cars. And now into the Crocodiles. Very tight corner, this one. You've got to make sure you get your entry and your exit nailed. Go too wide, you'll invalidate, pick up a warning. Now Cheetah, the do-or-die corner. Don't hit the anti-cut curb, and don't go too wide. You find yourself in the gravel. And he comes up towards Ingwe to finish out the lap. And that is a lap of Kyalami with Lubomir Siemens Lamborghini Huracan Super Trofeo.
It's worth noting as well that that last lap was a 146.074 as well. So in terms of lap times, it's still only a few seconds behind the Evos at this point at the front. So that was a really good clean lap with a really amazing demonstration of what this track is and what it's about. Obviously a lot of high curbs as well. Obviously there's several places in the track, such as Cheetah and the S's, where you don't want to hit those curbs, because as Ryan just said, they will send you flying. As Chorus will have a little look on the outside, of the grass there, running a little bit wide coming into the S's, but he made that stick. We have Guada, and he is under pressure from Dustin Rust. Oh no, that's a lapped. No, that is a lapped car. I apologize. He seems to have fairly clean air in front and behind him, but you can see the 87 of Madzo ahead as well, and that is who he is chasing.
9 minutes, or just over 9 minutes of this race to go. Elvin Smith still leads the way. He still needs to make a mandatory pit stop, as does Alistair Gillies, Andrei Shumarin, and Lubomir Zeman. Everyone else has done their mandatory pit stops. And the order starting to become a lot more reflective of what we thought we would see. A few of the GT3 Evos well in and amongst the STs. Of course, we saw Richard Skinner and Chris Sweeney involved in incidents earlier on in the race. Hicken has also had a bit of a tough time out there as well. And Briggs has also picked up some damage on his car. So no surprise to see their cars in and amongst the Super Trofeos. But we have got the leader of the Super Trofeo class in the pit lane, Lubomir Zeman. And he'll come in now to stop in his box. The angry look on the front of that Super Trofeo car. Very nice livery on that car as well. A nice black and red stripe going down. Just a quick splash and dash though for him. Nothing too big going on. He hasn't really been involved in any racing as such with any Super Trofeos. Mainly just being passed by Evo cars, so he'll make his way out back onto the track. Hilacalio is the second of the Super Trofeo cars, but he will be behind Zeman as Zeman goes through the second corner now. Hilacalio just about reaches the braking zone here. So with just about 7.5 minutes remaining, I don't think Hilacalio is going to have the pace to close down Zeman for first place in the ST class, as Elvin Smith pulls into his pit box for his mandatory stop.
It looks like as well, but he's in the pit box for a very long time here actually. This seems like a bit more than just a splash and dash, but he has dropped down now and he is on his way back out now, and I think he will be pulling ahead of Weidlich and keeping that lead. As you can see his teammate in the bottom of the screen there, just kind of making his way through. Weidlich is making his way through the final turn of Ingwe. So yeah, Smith is going to hold on to that first place, and now he has to do is keep his head down for the last 5 minutes or so of this race, and he's had a very job well done.
Alistair Gillies in the pit lane. That'll move Ismail Lebrec up one position. Gillies pulls into his pit box. Seems to be good on his marks, and yep, he's definitely staying a bit longer than a 1 litre splash and dash as well. So Alistair Gillies, he is rolling again, and he'll come back out on track. He should be ahead of Shumarin, so Alistair Gillies should come back out in P5. But I have to say, Ismail Lebrec in P4 right now from the back of the grid. And, I mean, with that dodge he had into the final corner, with that snap that he saved to come into the pit lane, and the incredible drive he's had, I mean, it's nothing short of remarkable.
Yeah, if a dream drive ever existed, I think he has had it this race, I must admit.
I mean, this will be the second time, technically, I've seen Ismail Lebrec pull off an incredible race at Kyalami. Both of them in very different conditions. And, of course, Ismail Lebrec will be competing in the Saturday Night Owl Championship that we have coming up in September. And the first round of that championship is actually at Kyalami, as Antonio Guarda finds a bit of the gravel trap, and then he's going to have to move out of the way for Chorus coming through. So, Antonio Guarda for Slowpoke Racing, just having a bit of a moment there out of Cheetah.
We've seen Cheetah catch a few of these guys out today. Obviously, we just talked about Lebrec's miraculous pit save, and was that a tap there for Carl Mathers from one of the Howlers racing? He just got a bit loose on the outside there as they go into Sunset. Those THR liveries, though, they are so nice. The black and gold, it looks so uniform and intimidating at the same time. They're just classy, I think. I think for me, they are among the best liveries on the grid.
I should have worn my Lotus Formula One shirt that I have. Probably shouldn't have admitted that I have a Lotus Formula One shirt on stream. I'll probably never live that one down now. But it is what it is. We move. And Shumarin is in the pit lane, so he's the last of the drivers to complete his mandatory pit stop with just over 4 minutes of the race to go. Carl Mattis in 20th place at the moment. He's just a second behind Renaud for, well, that's actually for the lead of the AM Super Trofeo class, so that could get interesting towards the last few minutes here. Shumarin comes out of the pit lane, and he will be behind Loro in the AM class for the Evos. I think he will be in third place, actually, as Deleu is ahead of him in the Barwell Motorsport number 24. So Shumarin will come out in third place in his class, on for a...
No, it's a really, really job well driven. Race well driven for him as well. I'm just looking at the timing boards now, and I'm not seeing anything major going on. It seems that everyone's kind of settled into kind of a rhythm. Looking at the gaps, there's a 5-second gap between Widelick and Smith. And Chorus has a 7-second gap to Widelick, so the top three are pretty spaced apart. And the smallest gap I'm seeing is around 1.2 seconds. No, sorry, no, Zeman is plus 4.3 seconds away from Hicken, so I think that's the closest cars that are on the track at the moment.
So, under 3 minutes of the race remaining, as I think a hyped up Ford Fiesta has just driven past my house. And we have Elvin Smith leading the Pro Class for the GT3 Evos. We have Pablo Loro leading the GT3 Evo AM Class. Lubomir Zeman leads the Super Trofeo Pro Class. And it is Matthew Renaud, who leads the Super Trofeo AM Class. Of course, they've been a bit mixed up today in the race, but I have to say we've seen plenty of good overtaking. We've seen some good saves. It's in a few scary moments. And we might see a couple of more right here as Elvin Smith having to navigate his way through some of the traffic. That's the number 17 of Nanthan. And Nanthan, although he's in a very similar livery, he isn't a THR car. So kind of blending in with some of the THR cars, but not quite the same livery. You can pick out the differences ever so slightly in the colours. And Weidelich, in fact, he's only about 3 seconds back from Elvin Smith, but I have to say, with the amount of time left in the race, I don't think there's going to be a challenge on here, especially with 4 cars between them traffic-wise.
No, I think Elvin has also cleared the bulk of those cars as well. So yeah, I don't see much of an opportunity for Wildlick to actually make up that gap. But still, that closed right up. That gap was certainly a lot bigger than it was than it was before that. It's amazing how similar those cars actually do look. I could have sworn that they're all THR. I wonder, Ryan, if they're going to go for a formation finish at the end, because that seems kind of apt.
It could be, but I mean, if I was Elvin Smith and I knew I had Weidlich 2.8 seconds behind me, I don't think my highest priority would be let's do a formation finish here, boys. And my highest priority is right. We'll cross the line, we'll get the race done, and then we can fly formation all the way back to the pit lane on the parade lap. But Elvin Smith, he will come through Cheetah. You can just see him there at the bottom of the screen. And he will come around Ingwe. He will start the final lap of the race. He's not going to be able to back off enough to make this the final lap. But coming onto the final lap now, you get the confirmation there. Leader on the final lap. And he's driven an absolutely phenomenal race, Elvin Smith. He's been untouchable out front. Weidelich had the chance to get in front of him down towards turn 2. He didn't take the opportunity. You wonder, would it have made a difference if he'd got ahead of him on the first lap? Well, we'll never really know. But Elvin Smith, he's driven a drive that, well, you would expect from an esports class driver.
Yeah, just that consistency, just the ability to get your head down, run away with it for an entire hour, and just keep the consistent lap times and just try and keep the grip of the car. And as we've said so many times before, these cars, they do snap oversteer. They're not the easiest of things to drive, so he's done a really, really, really good job keeping it out of the barriers, keeping it out of other cars, keeping other cars out of him. There's so many potential hazards and dangers around this track, around this time, especially, as I say, with these 4 races actually happening, as he's going to go up the hill, through the hairpin, and down mineshaft. Looks that we're on board with Zeman actually at the moment. Right now, he's the leader of the Super Trofeos, and I believe he is starting his final lap for the Super Trofeos as well. So both leaders of both races, they both seem very comfortable. Well, I wouldn't say comfortable in the terms of Smith, but Zeman does seem pretty comfortable in the lead of the Super Trofeo race. So that's going to be, as we see, Albin Smith go slightly wide through Cheetah, but he's going to recover that and to make the final turn, and he's going to go across the line to finish this hour race of Kyalami.
So Elvin Smith will take the flag for the Lamborghini Masters event here at Kyalami. Weidelich will finish in 2nd place, and Valentin Chorus will round out the pro podium. Ismail Lebrac, he's coming around the final corner. What a drive it has been from this man today. What a race he has had in the Lippert Motorsport 67 car. And it's a well-deserved 4th place for him here today. Lubomir Zeman making his way around on track for the Super Trofeos. Alistair Gillies will finish in 5th for the Evo class of cars. Pablo Loro, he looks to be the one to take the win here for the AM class in the GT3 Evos. He's got 3 corners left to navigate. There goes 1. Here goes Cheetah. And now he makes his way down towards Ingwe. So a fairly good race here from Pablo Loro. Looked comfortable for the AM class as well. And he'll slow down before the line. He'll make sure to keep it nice and smooth as he cruises over the line. Lubomir Zeman rounds the final corner. He will take the win in the Super Trofeo class for the pro and the overall. And a very, very good race from him in the number 21. Hilakalio and Billy Octane, they'll round out the podium for the Super Trofeo Pro class. And Mathieu Renaud will take the win for the Super Trofeo AMS, followed by Coles Mattis. And I think that is also going to be Jonathan Cole on the podium for the Super Trofeo AMS.
Yeah, we've seen some absolutely amazing racing here today. Obviously, fair few incidents, few close calls. That save from Lebrec, among other events throughout this race, it's been absolutely amazing. But Ryan, tell me, what's been your favourite part of this as we see the cars just get reset in front of the convention centre?
Favorite part of the race? I think it. I mean, for me personally, I think it was at the start when I got to see Ismail Lebrec slice his way through about 12 Super Trofeo cars in one lap. It was absolutely incredible. And so yeah, I mean, I think that's going to be the most the most exciting part of the race for me personally. I think that save has to be up there as well, though. I don't think you can't have that as one of the highlights of the race overall. And massive respect for Ismail Lebrec to recover that one.
No, I completely agree. Entirely took the words completely out of my mouth. Also, it was interesting seeing how Chorus and his teammate almost hitting each other in the pit lane as well. So they did well to avoid any accidental penalties there as well. But no, overall, an absolutely amazing race here at Kyalami.
Yeah, it's been a really fantastic race. Of course, Ryan and Joshua Devonshire bringing you the commentary. Again, I chimed in a couple times. My name is Mike Jones, bringing you the broadcast for today. I believe we have final rounds of our championships coming up here. Final round of the GT4 championship coming up on Monday. And the final round of the Pro Split, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan, will be on Friday for the Friday championship. And then subsequently next week, the final round for Silver and Rookie. And of course, we'll look forward to some new championships here pretty soon, including our Night Owl Championship, the next Friday, and the next Monday Championship. I know of which Ryan will be posting some information very soon here about the next Monday Championship. And then we will see you also next Sunday, Geneta Cup at Zolder for our final single event here for the month. Should be some exciting times here. Any last thoughts, Ryan?
Well, any closing thoughts? Look forward to Monday, I would say. The GT4 Championship is going to be absolutely incredible to see the finale of that and how all that ties together. But also stick around for Monday. If you liked what you saw here tonight with the Lamborghinis, 2 different types of Lamborghini on track, look forward to Monday's announcement. It's going to be something along those lines. Not going to be Lamborghinis, though. But it's going to be something very, very similar for our next championship on Monday night. So do look forward to that. But besides that, thank you all for the support here tonight. Do make sure to subscribe and like the stream if you enjoyed it. It helps us so much. And of course, thank you to each and every one of you who tuned in here tonight to watch the stream. We greatly appreciate your support. And, well, apart from that, enjoy the rest of your evening.